Good morning. Let's get rolling here. Let me switch my screen so we can see the charts. And all right. So I think today things have to move. I think. Good morning. Let's get rolling here. Let's mute that. All right. So yesterday was this gap up, dip down. I don't even know if that dip is real. Tell you the truth, this spike right here, it did come down into the gap fill. Okay, wasn't sure when I saw this. So pull back into the gap fill, and then yesterday afternoon, markets were in a coma. So this has created a launching pad to go in one direction or the other, and the size of that direction could be relatively equal. So looking at the hourly charts here, it really, and even the 15, which way does it break? Can it clear the highs? And if it does, I see this wall up here, but the gap fill is going to be an issue. But considering the depth of the retracement here so far, it could just keep pushing up into that area. So it's always an unknown whether prices can get through an area of resistance, because this area has never been traded above. If it was traded above and below, whereas we had, I'm going to just draw it up, just make it visibly, right? Meaning if it had stalled here and prices went up and then came all the way back down, let's say it fell. And I say it's been neutralized because prices went above it. And so as prices came down, that there were buyers down there. And as it came down to this area, there were buyers down there, and it sliced right through it. And in essence, while this is there, it's beyond what's directly to the left. And the probability of going through it with greater ease historically is much greater. In any event, it's there. If prices can clear this high, yesterday's high, it's going to open up the door to pushing up. We'll just have to see. If it breaks through this low here, because it came off of the low, right, that opens up the door to the void below. Same as we talked about this void having been created, the gap down in the move. If it could get through this area, there was nothing to really stop it until it gets up here. So now, if we break through these lows, well, yes, there's an unfilled gap there. Well, that was tested yesterday. So I'm making a mess out of the screen with my drawing here, but I'm having fun. Anyway, it's been tested once, so somewhat neutralized, let's just say, because it went down there and it hit it one time. So below here, it's going to open up the door to a deeper retracement. And let's just clean this up because it really is getting messy. Where's this annotation thing? All right. So what we have going on is really a trading range. Now that prices stopped up here and they stalled down here and held this support, they've gotten here, which way they're going to go. We're in a trading range. So we could be in for more chop, but I think it's time for things to start moving here. I think the audio's coming through, Ahmad. Well, he can't hear me if he's asking that question. Yeah. Yes, SPX levels. All right. So here we've got S&Ps here. Let's move this over. And so overnight we had a test here. We're going to look at the futures to get a better idea here. Just looking at this spike high from yesterday. That was pre-market as it went down. 317. It's going to be tricky. So if you go up here, there's going to be no premium, I suspect. No premium. So you're going to have to take the chance of being up here. And We know there's no Fed threat today. They did their damage the other day. Let's look at the futures here. And so what we have is an inside day so far. So one of the things that you find out, I certainly found out, is that waiting for too much confirmation, it's a double-edged sword. We want the confirmation to know that we're not going to get creamed with one of these spreads, because we know credit spreads cut like a razor when you're wrong. Right? So waiting for too much confirmation is costly, because if you're wrong, it's a big loss. Anyway, getting a little closer to the damage or the pain, and taking that additional risk can work out, even if it doesn't drop much, because it's the time decay works. So even I've seen many times where it gets up to where you'd like to put on the spread, but because of the time decay into the afternoon, there's no more juice there, as Dan calls it, or premium. So some additional weakness here, pre-market, and I think you have to go above these highs here, a little bit above these highs. All right, so McGraw has already said 3060, 3060s. We look at SPX, right? That's a little bit above this high here. So I would agree, but a little bit of weakness to break, say, through 3050, or not 3050, 3090-ish or so, to go to 3160 makes sense. Because if it breaks here and gets back up there, it's going to hurt, because it's going to keep going. So just keep that in mind. We'll see. Obviously, if it breaks above here, if there's any juice down here, that would be the way to go. So 3,200, trader's saying is juice at 3,200. I like that. You know me, I'm a scaredy cat with these things. I'll take less premium for a sure thing any day of the week. All right, so there you go. This ain't even 3,230. That sounds like a no-brainer. So even if we get a test up here, let's assume the market goes up then. If there's juice up there, there'll be more early in the morning if this goes up. So what would we look for? A push up here and a breakout failure. So failure patterns anywhere at the top of the range and the bottom of the range would give you an insight as to down below, or breakout failure up at the top, up above. So there's a plan. Okay. And with this range, if by chance, I hopefully it doesn't stay in the range, but if by chance things come up and come down and start slopping around here, well, maybe it's, Iron Condor kind of a day. But we'll assess it as it unfolds. So let's look at the rest of the markets here. Yeah, it could be inside day. As we saw the futures here, that's all it is so far. So we shall see. NQ just pushing up slightly above there, and so kind of plodding along in a pretty controlled manner. It's flattening out here pre-market, but obviously still bullish. And so far, this weekly chart is negating the topping tail from last week, and it's a deep retracement into that. Nonetheless, this has been a big move, right? And it's a greater than 100% retracement that took that out. And unless this market is like totally, the irrational exuberance scenario with this virus thing ending, that it's going to continue up from here. So let me back up. This could be a continuation pattern, But continuation patterns after a greater than 100% retracement are so low odds compared to a continuation pattern and just getting started. Those are the money, continuation patterns, because most times they don't pull back when they first getting started. But continuation patterns after a greater than 100% retracement are low odds, which is just common sense. You know, it's run the race, and now it's going to run another one. You know, you're looking, you know, for a lotto ticket. All right. YM, the Dow, about a 50% retracement, give or take, eyeballing it in the middle of the wide range bar. Inside day, well under yesterday's high. Congestion down below. It's a mess. It's a mess. So we're not going to get any kind of a big move unless it breaks below these levels here. And if it does that, well, then that's going to open up the door to, you know, just hit the bid and looking for it to drop. And if it takes out the highs, well, take the offer. You know, maybe it keeps going. So kind of like in limbo here, so to speak. Which way is it going to go? And you can see the inside day here. And what is the Russell doing? Another inside day. So neutral traders uncertain about continuing to push the long side here. And rightly so. After that nasty move, you know, it's come up here. And let's not forget that the Fed came to the rescue the other day, where the markets were ready to roll over, and then they came up with their corporate buying announcement, which drove the markets higher. I don't know how many more silver bullets they have, but you know, they shot that one off. So we'll see. One of the guides before taking out the low that I use would be if it trades below the opening price. You know, we'd always look at that in the green room, meaning as long as prices are above the opening price, bulls have the upper hand. Now, if it breaks below, well, bulls are taking control. So that's one line in the sand that's really easy to use. Is it above, below? Is it above or below the opening price? Bonds. Now, if it's below the opening price and below yesterday's close, well, that's a little more extra for the bearish bias. And we have the other way. Simply, if it's above the opening price and above yesterday's close, buyers have the advantage. NDX. Why do we want to look at NDX? We looked at the Qs. You want me to look at the cash market, Ahmad? $ NDX? Oh, okay. All right. So bonds, you know, they hit resistance. You look to the left, you know, broken down here, exactly where the sellers would be. And that is a beautiful candle right there. That is like the money. When you see this, and if it's on an intraday chart, it's the same thing. I mean, it broke down, it retraced up to where resistance is, it stalls, takes out the high, and comes back in again. You short that every single time, looking for it to go lower. Oil, holding up here for now. Oh, you can see it's up at some resistance, but going sideways here. So far, bullish. And this could be one measure intraday as an intermarket analysis as to what equities might do. So if we see oil start rolling to the downside here, that could drag equities down because, you know, you see the way things went up, you know, that's positive for the market, oil going up after there's been this correction. So that can change at times. Do you short at the low of the money bar? We always short on the break of a bar's low. So whatever the signal bar is, Steve, we let it confirm by trading below that bar. and vice versa if it's the long side. Gold still in a coma, going sideways. Sudden alerts. See, whenever it gets above the range here, we got a big red bar ignored on the weekly, but it's just not doing anything. Silver holding up here. Now this, you see, everybody, we all see this head and shoulders top, right? And if this clears this high, it's going to take off. And of course, then gold should be taking off. And I mentioned in the letter over the weekend, GDX, if it can clear that red bar's high, so set an alert here. If this can clear this red bar's high, you can see a similar kind of pattern. Not a big one, right? If it can clear that, it's going to take off. Greg, I want to join the green room for 2 days. Is it possible? Yeah, take the trial. Use 2 days. The other 3 days, you don't have to come. We don't keep track. We're not going to send you to the principal's office if you're not here. I'm joking with you. You can do whatever you want, Rowan. If you, and look, we charge $7 to be in the room because over the years, I just know you put it out there for free. The tire kickers come in that really, maybe they don't even show up or what have you. But look, I know you for a long time and you've taken all of our courses, so as a special favor to you, right? If you can only be here 2 days and you want to use the rest of your time the following week, we'll do that for you. Not so that, you're missing that time, but paying for the days if you have a schedule to attend to. Okay. All right. Last, I always look at the transports and then hand it over to Dan. I've already taken too long here this morning. I'm sorry. No, you can see big gap day back down. We'll see which way things go. There you go. All yours, Dan.
All right, thanks. Good morning. Yeah, Q's holding up fine here. I've just been watching them here pre-market. The others are drifting in a little bit. So going to start out very neutral here, just like the last couple of days with the big gaps. Let's take, we only have 2 opens. We've managed our credit spreads really well, both on starting off on the bear side, then legging into the put side, and then closing them into strength yesterday with tighter stops. We still have coup put spread, looks great, and we have DXCM put spread, looks great. That's actually a 1, 2, 3. But I'd prefer a better price void for a directional, but beautiful buy setup. It was a no-brainer trade, and that's what we like to do here. Find no-brainer setups. Twilio is on my long list. That's gapping over yesterday's high. That I was going to give that today over yesterday's high, and this is one of those examples. Do you want the overnight risk or not? If the futures were closing more bullish, then I would have taken the overnight risk. But otherwise, I said I'll wait. And that I would also love to do a put spread on that, but they're too spready. Let's look at our swing and options trader. We got a bunch of positions here. AKR long, Clausen. Greg, I'm mad at you. You made me sell half my merchandise yesterday, and I said no. I want a bigger target. Look at that. It was just a beautiful weekly. So my target was, $6 to $8 as a core, but we're getting close to my first target in 2 days. So that's why I sent out an alert saying, just take it. We'll keep an eye on it, reload on a pullback if it happens. If not, then so be it. It was a home run. I'll do the math afterwards, but it's 150% return, whatever. We'll take it every time. F Sly, we sold a third. yesterday. J&J were short stock, same stop. Momo short stock showing relative weakness. Net, we're long stock. Hey, it's gapping up. Nice. So we can, I'll put it here. I need to tighten the stop on that, particularly if the market's weak. But this was a 1, 2, 3 to add. I already moved stop to yesterday's low. You know what? I'll just watch it in the first 5 minutes, but I'm inclined to move the stop to the pre-market low. But I'll wait for the opening. Nikla, we have a put spread. Piton, or actually we have a covered call. We legged into a covered call yesterday. PayPal covered call. Varex short stock. So all our merchandise is good. These were a couple that Derek asked about. It's gapping up. So the gap's too big, no pattern. I don't like the way that one trades. MGen 1.2. That's might set up. I'll keep that on the list. NTN, look at this rocket. That was tradable yesterday. Wow. That was tradable. I think I just sent Greg an email idea for next week. I'm thinking of next week's MT Live of how to trade these, these rocket ship stocks. FLGT 1960 way up here. It's a big gap. You need to let it set up, but it's worth watching. YouTube's asking about Visto. VSTO for Tim. Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. That's a 1, 2, 3. With this bar closing deep into resistance, gapping up. I like it a lot. Thank you, Tim. I'm going to put that up here. Visto, that looks fantastic. All time frames. All time frames. Thank you. Visto. YouTube's they're asking about Nikla and Roku. Nikla, we just have a put spread, and it's an unusual trade. I wouldn't be swinging this, only day trading. We sold way the heck out of the money. Put $40, bought the 35. Took in a crazy $3.50 on a $5 wide spread. Never seen such a big spread in my life for so far away. So I kind of did it as an experiment. So that's all, but no swing setup there. They're asking about Roku. It's too extended now. The entry on that was a late day breakout for a day trade and or selling a put on that breakout. Now it's too extended for me. It's under yesterday's closing price, but that's still a climactic move there. JR's asking about Lulu. Lulu, yeah, we actually did a call spread at the high, the bearish gap down on earnings. We covered it here. And now it's taken out yesterday's high. I don't know. Maybe if the market's holding, you can do maybe a 15-minute high, but if you look on an hourly chart, I don't even have to look because I know for a fact all these overlapping bars. If you look at an hourly, that's going to be major resistance. looking at ever, EVER. Yeah, breaking out to all-time highs. Yeah, that looks good. It actually looks like a little bit of the Visto. Visto. Let me put that. That in a 15-minute window, that looks good. Apple. Yep, amazing. Yep. Daniel Barr, welcome. I don't do me a favor and put your drop down where you're typing to us, to all panelists and attendees. I don't know if these tails are not real because look at the intraday. It's a sloppy mess. This looks like just the toy du jour. Just crazy, some crazy moves on things lately. But the problem is right now, there's nothing to do with it unless you are in it and you're just trailing profits. Nothing to do with it. Yeah, Twilio was the best looking long into the close yesterday. Tim's asking about 2 oil plays. We were in both of those actually, RRC and SWN. I remember them both. We were on this breakout right there, sold some in the strength, trail stopped out. Right now, there's no pattern. SWN, no pattern. There's no pattern. You just got to let them set up. George, yeah, I sent to our, oh shoot, our net's coming in here a little bit. I sent to our Telegram folks possible Amazon put spread, but I'm doing nothing as the market's pulling in here. Net. So net, I'm going to tighten the stop to this 15-minute pivot, 31.22. Clausen, as I said, 5-minute low.